and welcome to Investors Hangout, this fortnightly interaction to help you learn and understand investments and saving issues is brought to you by Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund and Value Research. Today we are here to discuss about something which is already, very talked about thing. We're here to discuss about cryptocurrencies. We'll talk about IPOs and the good old mutual funds. And amid this plethora of information coming in from all directions, we are joined by our CEO Dhirendra Kumar, who will help us make sense of what is really happening. Welcome, Dhirendra.
Thank you.
There's a lot of noise around cryptocurrencies. A lot is happening these days. What is, can you please explain what is this? What is happening?
Two, three things happening at the same time. A lot of young people are speculating in crypto. We also know that, some big time, extortion goes on or any illegal activity, the payment happens in cryptocurrencies. The third thing is that the governments are in the business of, there are two critical economic things which governments do, which is tax people, and that's their sovereign right, and they print currency. And this is almost like extending if crypto actually becomes a currency. This is giving the right to print currency to somebody else, because whosoever produces it, whosoever creates it, is the owner. So, or has the potential to create. So, in that sense, no government is going to let it go like that. So, the governments all over are trying to regulate it in some form or the other. And now the latest news is that the government will come up with a bill. Because earlier it was banned and the Supreme Court actually had a clampdown on that it shouldn't be done. So now government is coming up with a law to ban, which will likely translate into a ban. And the ban can happen in possibly in two forms. One is that there could be a blanket ban, that any Indian owning cryptocurrency will be illegal. This is one aspect. The other is that, okay, somebody can own, somebody can have cryptocurrency, but he will have to pay taxes, he will have to go through KYCs, there will be legitimate exchanges, and if it is not done through these mechanisms, then it will be illegal, which means that it will have the traceability. So, in the second case, people will still continue to speculate. They will continue to speculate, and small people, small students and a lot of youngsters speculating into that, they don't come into the taxation tax ambit and all that, so that might continue. The first one that has the potential to actually hurt this, the whole business can go underground. The way it happens with contraband, that you make it illegal, then everything goes underground, and but it continues in some form or the other. That is also a very undesirable thing. So the advantage of the first one is that, okay, making it illegal, there is some merit in that. The merit is that it's a bad thing. I don't see a legitimate utility of that. Of course, a lot of people are speculating is one aspect, but somebody creating a currency and people speculating among themselves, and price goes up, and there isn't a basis to it. Price goes up because any price goes up primarily for two reasons. One is the demand and supply, which in this case there is a defined supply, so-called defined supply, and the other is there is a fundamental attribute which makes it more attractive, less attractive, the way it happens in the case of a stock, the way it happens in case of a bond. If you own a bond which is carrying a coupon of 10%, and if today the interest rate comes down to 5%, that 10% yielding bond will become very valuable, because till it expires, it will continue to earn 10%. So that is how bond prices change. If you have a company's stock share, and the company was actually a very dull company, was not doing well, and suddenly it has got orders and it is making more money, it is adding adding capacity, its earnings will go up, and its earnings, its profits will go up, and that is why people bid higher prices. So there is a fundamental change happening in case of an asset. You can have a house as well. Your house was in a village, and that village suddenly, gradually somehow becomes a town, and a lot of people migrate there, and then it becomes pricey, it becomes attractive simply because there are more takers for that. It has become mainstream. Earlier it was a village, and now it looks like a semi-town, and with a lot of people aspiring to own that land, so it becomes more valuable. Greater demand and supply because of other variables. So fundamentals change. In case of crypto, none of that. It's entirely speculative. It is entirely demand and supply, because more people buy and more people sell, so that can actually influence. I don't understand the utility of it. Crime and speculation cannot be the driver for anything about which people can be excited about. And it is going to really disappoint people. Over a period of time, people will realize that this means nothing. Uh, and no government will let it happen at a scale. So let's see what happens. Uh, I think these are two possibilities, and both of them are will actually make it grim for investors.
All right, so two possibilities there, but India is one of the largest crypto markets in the world. Estimates suggest that around 15 to 20 million crypto investors, there are 15 to 20 million crypto investors in India. So if the ban comes in force, what happens to them?
RBI governor has actually pointed to this number 15 to 20 million, and he's not sure that this is. I was reading his interview, and I'm not very sure that this number has is rooted in reality. But nevertheless, I know for a fact that a lot of youngsters are excited about it. They are speculating. They don't have a reason, and they are fanatic. They believe in it. They think that this is something really substantial. This is something. This is the magic wand they have been able to discover, and anybody who is against it or is questioning the validity of this, they think is out of mind.
Yeah.
Simply because they have experienced it. They have put their 1,000 rupee and it has become 1,500 rupee in a day, or it is that volatile. Um, if it actually becomes illegal, then your whatever small money or big money that you have invested, the holding of that, if you don't get an exit route, then it will become illegal. Holding it, and maybe the government gives you an avenue to wind it up. But I don't know. Then there is another aspect to it. If it does not become illegal, owning and it gets into the realm of legitimacy, but it'll KYC will be mandated, gains will be taxed, and sale of this will be considered as a sale. If I buy Bitcoin, then it will be liable, because anything bought or sold in this country attracts GST. So the government will start earning tax, and that is how, in a limited way, it will become legitimacy. Because the the charm of cryptocurrency, why it is very meaningful thing, why it is very attractive for crime as well as particularly crime, uh, as a compensation for crime, or a situation where the anonymity of it, whom you give your money to, he can remain can remain a secret. Anonymity of that is very substantial. So in this case, the anonymity bit will not be there, and so it will remain only a speculative vehicle in the legitimate form. So, there will be people who will have legitimate Bitcoin, and there will be people through exchange who will not have legitimate. When I'm buying something, I don't know who the counterparty is. And so if we are actually facilitating a large market in India, even when they will be validated, but they will be buyers and sellers among themselves, but there could be buyers, there could be sellers who could be drug warlord somewhere else in the world. How do we ensure this? So you cannot really ensure the counterparties, and if it does not have the global linkage, then this crypto ambit, whatever we do, uh, will be an Indian thing, will just be an Indian framework, which will not work nicely, because the whole world, the value of currency, like, or supposedly currency, is that it will have the standard price globally.
Hmm. If the ban comes in force, whether or not the ban comes in force, should one really buy cryptocurrency in India?
Uh, I normally tell everybody all these years, for 30 years I have made a living by telling people that never invest anything which you don't understand how it works. And but a lot of people are claiming that they understand how it works, but don't buy into that. This is all exuberance. I think people should invest to the extent that they can lose it and they won't mind, because I think speculation is a very human instinct, and if you can invest to the extent that if you lose it all tomorrow, it won't affect your long-term plans, it won't affect your mind, it won't affect your behavior, it won't really hurt you in a very meaningful way. By all means, do it. Nothing beyond that, because the kind of ambiguity that we are seeing, particularly in India, and even otherwise, the lack of substance Uh, it simply can't be the reason that is being claimed, that is being stated for buying these cryptos. I don't think they're valid enough for somebody to get excited about it. Yes, making money itself and making easy money itself cannot be a great reason uh, to indulge in this. And whenever in the past it has happened, over years together, over the last 100 years, ever it has become very easy to make money without a reason. It translates into misery, it translates into disappointment. Then one day the balloon for uh,
Goes past.
goes bust. So
Okay, that's about cryptocurrency. Moving on to initial public offers. It's been raining IPOs quite literally, and people have been lining up to buy, IPOs. So, what's your take on that?
my take is that people will be well off, generally. Most IPOs have some basis to it, that most companies are issuing shares, that is initial public offer. But in most of these cases, this is not initial public offer of the traditional kind. This is because most of these companies have achieved a certain scale. They have become of a meaningful scale by capital infusion or investments from private equity fund or venture capitalists. And these companies, after they have achieved a scale, they are selling the shares, a part of the good amount of shares which are held by the venture capitalist and private equity fund. So this is not initial public offer. This is not issuance of shares by these companies which investors are buying. This is transfer of shares held by other people to others. So a good part of it, some part of it might be coming to the company. Some part of it might be. So it's a combination of these two. Uh, so my sense is that most investors are generally well off without investing in these IPOs, because my classical understanding of company is buying a share is that one should be investing for the long run. One should be investing in a company's share because you are becoming an owner, and nothing substantially changes in a day or two. The other disadvantage of IPO is that for an individual investor, for a small individual investor, the maximum that you can buy is something which is dependent on a lottery. If there is a company which is coming with an IPO and many people are going to invest in that, then there is going to be a huge demand and there will be less supply. And huge demand, less supply, your allotment will be less. Which means that, and the max that you can invest is 2 lakh rupees. It is not meaningful. Then the lottery element reduces it further. So one should invest in IPO only if you come across an extraordinary. There is a particular season in which IPOs are attractive. IPOs are attractive only when the market is very bad and companies are issuing shares. Companies are coming with their IPOs. That is the time when you get it cheap, but that is the time when you get cheap the shares which are listed in the companies as well, in the market as well. Uh, One should look at these IPOs as a negotiated transaction. This is a negotiated transaction that the owners of the company, the existing owners of the company, are issuing shares when people are excited about buying them. So it is unlikely to be very attractive at an attractive price. So that is the disadvantage. So one should look at it with a short-term perspective. Though normally I say that one should look at it exactly the way I was saying about crypto. Invest a part of it, good company, bad company, and if the weather turns bad, because most people are investing in the hope that the price it will get listed at a higher price, sell it, get out, invest in the next one, and good till it lasts, and stop when it stops working. And so do it with a certain amount of money. Do it with an amount of money which, if you lose in between, you are not disappointed. And investing in stock is a very it should be done carefully. One should understand a company, and one before investing, one should always understand what it is all about. So one should understand the company, then invest. Otherwise, simply because IPOs and people have traditionally been investing new companies and the exuberance around it, no.
Okay, and also, like you mentioned the other day, that most IPOs come during when the markets are going up.
Absolutely, that is what we are witnessing right now.
Yeah. Okay, and amid all of this, what should the mutual fund investors do? Should they take a relative view?
No, they should not take a relative view. They should ignore the noise, keep calm, and carry on. If you are on to a SIP plan, Don't get excited about these. If you get excited, have a very defined amount, and have that defined amount that, if you're investing in crypto, then, have fun. Uh, Realize the gain, have fun, go for your picnic. Likewise for IPO, because and then once in a while, and carry on with your plan. Make sure that 95% of your investment, which is getting invested on a thoughtfully in mutual fund by way of SIP for the long run, which is diversified, which will not see all these, the exciting things will not happen with your money, but, definite things will definitely happen with your money. And so keep calm, carry on, ignore the noise.
Time now to move on to our viewers' questions. And the first one has been sent in by Somesh. He wants to know your view on the likely ban on privately owned cryptos and RBI introducing their own digital currency.
RBI introducing own digital currency is going to be a very normal thing. It's a distributed ledger. That whole technology of crypto, the blockchain is that. So that is not going to be very significant. If I have money in my bank, and if you have a bank account and I'm able to transfer, instead of that, if I'm actually giving you a code for a certain amount of money to be transferred to your account, I don't think it's a big deal. The real thing is that, if they ban the private, what is the form of ban? Is it going to be a blanket ban? That is going to be a bad news for all the people who are speculating in it. If it is going to be a limited ban, in the sense that it is mandating that, okay, it is not, you can buy and sell these cryptos, but KYC is mandatory, and all the transaction will be taxed at the time of sale, at the time of, realizing the gains. And third thing is that it is unlikely to be, the ban will also translate into that it is unlikely to be a stated legal tender. That if you are going to buy, a phone, so you can't pay by way of these cryptos. So if it is not going to be a legal tender, and if it is coming under this ambit, then it remains only a speculative vehicle. In that sense, you will not be stuck, you will not be left in the lurch. But I wonder that after those clamp down, if those controls are actually built into, or they're implemented, cryptos will actually see a great upheaval. They will decline in value, and right now still, people are ambiguous about what the form will be. And incidentally, all the people who are participating in the crypto party are optimists. They are thinking that, this is something great that they have discovered, and it will carry on, the party will carry on, and it's a result of the optimism that you see the wildness. People are unwilling to believe that, okay, now this is a regulation, this is a bill which is going to be tabled in the parliament. They are unable to understand the context of it. It is a follow-up of the bill, of the ruling by the Supreme Court, in response to which the government is doing it. This is something which people should be, that is why I was saying that make sure that your allocation to this such speculative thing is to the extent that you can lose it. If it is a substantial part of it, you are going to be, very disappointed.
Now, PM Anadurai asks, is there a way to analyze cryptos fundamentally, like equity shares for long-term investment?
No, there is absolutely no way, you fundamentally figure out. There is nothing else to it. How can you actually, analyze gold? How can you analyze a rupee currency? One can still analyze currency, because, there are a lot of variables which you get to know about currency, about a country. If India has a very poor balance of payment situation, or if it has a very poor or a very strong balance of trade, we know that what impact it will have. If as a country we are going to buy more dollar, or we are going to sell more dollar because we are importing more. So, there are a lot of macroeconomic variables which we are still able to figure out, know about. You would have read in the newspaper that Turkey has seen a decline of its currency by 45% in the last some time period. There is a basis to it. The basis to it is that, their balance of trade is and the confidence in the economy is very low. The capital flows has actually come to a standstill, and that is what is translating into this exodus, and that is what is leading to this kind of decline in value. In case of crypto, you don't have any of those.
Okay, now Raghavi V has sent in the next question. She says, as the government is coming out with clear guidelines regarding cryptos, Will mutual fund houses come up with crypto themed funds?
Very unlikely. SEBI has already thrown its hands up, on this, that they don't want to regulate this, and understandably, there is not much to regulate, and it's very difficult to validate because the whole traceability of money bit is difficult. The whole globalization of the market, in terms that the crypto that you buy here could be coming from anywhere, and you can't really help it. How does money move around? That is actually problematic. So I don't visualize that domestic mutual fund will ever launch a crypto based fund, but nobody knows. The future is always unknown. So an offbeat chance, but I don't visualize any such situation.
So unlikely to happen. Now, Avinash asks, do you believe cryptos are at a stage where equity was 40 years ago, and will the volatility eventually reduce?
No, I don't think crypto is at any stage where equity was in the past, because equity always represented an asset. Crypto does not represent an asset. By an asset, I mean that when you own equity, it gives you an entitlement. You are the proportionate owner of a company. If you own 100% of the company, then you can actually walk into the company and everybody will salute you, because you own all the assets and liabilities of that company. In case of crypto, you just own this. And somebody created it. You are the owner of it. In that sense, I don't know what people are hoping about crypto. What they think about crypto. Somebody created it, and we are changing hand, and we are buying it simply because it goes up and down. And uh, in terms of an asset, I don't know. I don't think it has any worthwhile relevance.
All right. Now, Ashish Agarwal asks, since crypto does not have any underlying asset, are they safe and worth investing in, specifically when there's a global recession or a market crash?
I don't know. It can, if look, the value of crypto will depend in the eye of the beholder, and if that, those eyes, those number of people actually go up, crypto will go, the value will go up. If a year from now, assuming that we have 10 million people who invest in crypto, and they invest $100 billion, and a year from now, more people will be investing and more money into it, the price will go up. It will become pricey. But I don't know if whenever that tide turns. But at the same time, we know that different kind of cryptos are also getting created. Now we have a plethora of, it's no longer Bitcoin and Ethereum or whatever it is. Now we have a wide range of things, and it can be created, different series, different things, different private crypto series. If they are branded, made, marketed, and the supply can well be infinite. And what takes off, what doesn't, and when the music will come to, it's like a musical chair, good till it lasts, and when it comes to an end, someday people will realize that the underlying worth is nothing. I'll tell you, 100 years ago, people started buying, started speculating in flowers, and in Holland, and it became a rage. And it also, so let's not get that excited. I think individual investors will be well off. Uh, Steering clear of this, having a small allocation, taking a punt, and that's about it. Have fun. Nothing more than that. It should be a very insignificant part of your fun allocation. That is it.
Now, Meera Mehta asks, how does one buy and sell cryptocurrency? How do we really earn from IPOs?
Buying cryptocurrency, there are so-called entities which are claiming to be exchanges, and but I don't find them to be exchanges, in a sense that any operating there is an operating framework for an exchange. When you have exchange, then the exchange is the facilitator, which where buyers and sellers come, and then there is a depository.
Yeah.
In this case, you don't need a depository because it's a distributed ledger. So I don't know how the verifiability of this, and because you have large number of individuals who are buying small quantity of something, verifiability of all this is quite questionable to my understanding. There will be legitimate ones, and there will be racketeers. There will be racketeers simply because a lot of people are putting money, and they're willing to put, and you can just connect to the price series of crypto on a live basis from somewhere. and people will start buying and selling. So that can well be a dabba trading. There is nothing underlying, but you look at the price and start buying and selling. We can start speculating on anything if we want to. We can well start. I have come across people where they point to speculating on the next ball in a cricket tournament, that whether it will turn right or turn left, depending on the swing, I can actually bet some money with you. That's not the point. The point is that people are giving some kind of legitimate framework, holding this legitimate framework in their own mind, which I think is very dangerous. It can take you in the wrong direction. It will shortchange you with a lot of money. So be careful about it. And how do you really make money from IPO? The real way of making money in IPO is, there are two ways, as I was saying earlier, that keep investing in IPO at fantastic pace. Invest in IPO, get the allotment, sell it, then invest in the next one, and be little selective about, just ignore the very questionable ones. And at Value Research Online, we come up with 30 questions on every IPO. Take a look at that. If you find that any company which is getting a score of less than 18, I would say, and look at the prominent, there are some more relevant questions. Look at that. IPO informational analysis. You can also go and look at the information analysis of all the IPOs in the past. So take a look at that. Generally, this is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is, ignore most of them, keep reading them, enjoy, learn about these companies, and once in a while you'll come across a good company, a great company at an attractive price. And if this fear of missing out is something which every investor should overcome. Most people think that this is the last opportunity when they'll be able to buy it. It's never like that. Some of the finest companies you are able to buy it at a far cheaper price, because the market, it requires patience. But if you're a mutual fund investor, you can well ignore the IPOs, because your mutual fund manager is taking care of it. He will invest in IPO. He will get a superior allotment. He will get, in good companies. He will ignore the bad ones. He will have a small allocation of the money. No mutual fund manager is going to invest his 30% of his money into IPOs, which an individual investor can well do that. So most investors can ignore these IPOs, and if at all you do, if you're a thoughtful stock investor, then be very careful and selective.
So be wary of investing in cryptocurrencies, be wary of investing in IPOs, and stick to your good old mutual funds. That's what today's session's been all about. Thank you, Dhirendra.
Thank you.
Thank you to all our viewers. Do keep sending us your questions. Keep watching this space for more information. And if you like the show, do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.